So now they're starting to like pinpointed the kind of stuff that they basically like they timed out my YouTube out, and that's how I know that I've stumbled upon. I fished out and figured out what they're planning on doing. Okay? So that is where they've now gone past the sound torture into suicide into essentially what is a murder plot that they're planning, and that I basically the next video or the previous one that they timed out, I was still able to get it to upload. Okay, so it'll basically explain what their plan is, and that's why they timed it out, hoping that it wouldn't upload. This is the real reason, and that basically it like destroys, and I basically like called out the basic people that are planning the plot, okay? And that is where this situation, this is what I knew would happen. The reality is I know that they do a real authentic satanic S&M, and that essentially there's two forms of murder that they do in that. They essentially do sound torture into suicide as a murder method, and then they essentially, if that doesn't work, then they move on to real blatant or more authentic forms of murder. And that it comes in some sort of, always has some weird justification, and that is where they've now moved on. That is the emergency parameter, and that is essentially where I knew that it would get to this. This is where this situation is festering in this town with this law enforcement group, and that essentially it's getting to the point where in the past they used to get people that they do this to essentially be in some sort of situation in a law enforcement way that they would be able to justify discharging their firearms with. And that this is what I knew, is that there's a whole group of people here that literally aren't falling for any of their tricks like that, and that now what it's turned into is blatant, cold-blooded murder methodologies. And that is where they plan on killing people. They just plan on walking in and killing people. Okay? That's what it gets to. The whole idea is that I know everything about that satanic S&M that they're in. I know exactly what the group that they victimized has essentially not really fallen for much of the typical kind of like stuff that would see. It's essentially like there's not people replacing them, and it pushes them to essentially murdering their victims and then having some weird explanation. This is what it is, and that if, you know, the reality is that they pretty much probably just fucking hate me for making it real easy to comprehend the who and the what and the where and the when and the why and the how, and that they're just gonna be so fucking pissed in all fucking ways, and that this is like literally what it ends up being. And that in the past, some of the dumb ghouls would fall into a similar category as them. And that since they use dumb, stupid, fucking pedo fuck methods. This is why I went and got and made fine-tuned research about all this, because this is essentially where, you know, the tech nerds will basically have a completely new way of doing things. And that it'll essentially, if they don't want to stop voyeur exploiting somebody, then the whole idea is that what they did on dark webs and shit doesn't give those people the right to go and build voyeur exploitations on people and then to be expecting them to never talk, okay? That's basically what their whole, the real reality is, that they're so used to being psychotic around here and forcing people to not fucking talk, right? That there's going to be whole fucking groups of people in Tri-Cities that'll just be tubing all fucking day. All fucking day. All fucking day. All fucking day. And that they'll be doing it day in and day out. Day in and day out. Day in and day out. And there ain't nothing you can fucking do about it, bitch.